Central Texas, it's Phyllis Jones. Welcome to KISS Community Connections at 103.1 KISS FM. And you know, yes, today is slightly soapbox day. Then after that, we're going to talk about holidays and why do you celebrate them? Because as we know, we celebrate holidays and don't know why. Just someone told us to. But my soapbox issue is this. You know, the person we call president often makes mistakes. And I'm saying often. But this week, one of our leading congresswomen, Maxine Waters, you know, she went on a little tangent there. And my issue with her tangent is that some of us supported telling her how wrong she was. I was confused. I mean, to me, yes, I'll say what she said was a little far out there, but guess what? On my Facebook page, anybody I talked to, I supported exactly what she said. Why? Because I'm an African American and I'm an African American female. Out publicly, we need to show support for what we do and what we say. Right. But later on, one-on-one, like I said, you know what, that was the dumbest thing you ever said. Don't you ever say it again. But that's a one-on-one conversation we need to learn to have, that one-on-one, where outwardly, I'm with you, I got your support thumb, everything you need. But we need to know later on, that's when you call a person on the phone, or you knock on their door and say, hey, this is what you said, and this is what I did. I supported you because we look at who we are. That's right. So we need to learn to do that. So all those who said something negative about her, yeah, I got you back. I sure did. I instant messaged you and told you what I thought about you. Because we must do that. When we do stuff like that, we need to say, hey, listen, whoa, back, whoa. Remember why she's saying what she's saying. Remember the fact that she's tired. She's tired of being sick and tired. She's been in that position a long time. So sometimes she got the right to go off the way she did. Because maybe she's trying to let us know, y'all not listening. You know, and if she got to whoop us outside the head like I do some people, then that whooping will be given. And, you know, if you didn't deserve it, you know. But if you did deserve it, take it. But like I'm saying is, next time one of our leading people lash out, don't criticize them. Because somebody else is waiting for us to do that. Remember, when we criticize our own and they were an elected official, those votes are also counting. Because that vote is saying, well, you know what, we can count on them not to vote for her next time. We can count on them for not to vote, because that's what we're saying. Really, we're saying that. So we need to reframe what we're saying, stop what we're doing, and support us outwardly when we do something. Even when it's wrong, support us, like I'm saying, but call later on and say, hey, you know, like in this building right now, I got I guess I can't say my brothers because I'm not a brother. So I say my relatives, the Nation of Islam, in here. And, you know, a couple of them know that they've done something I've supported. And later on, I've called them and say, hey, we can't do that. But like I said, we need to do it in love, not in hate. But we need to do it in love, and we need to do it as a people and as a nation. Also, we know upcoming elections in November, we have a chance to change everything. We do. We have a chance to change everything. We actually have a chance to stop talking and go vote. We also have a time to shut up, read, and go vote. We need to go vote. And, you know, usually we always need, you know, a slogan to go behind because it sounds really cool. And we can say, okay, I could take that. Well, I'll say that the National Office of the NAACP came up with a nice one. Now, some of us, as I say the slogan, will understand it's not for everybody. But it's for us, and it's called Defeat, Hate, Vote. And that's simple. Because we see a lot of going on today is what? Hate. We see it's openly, I mean, this is like a happy thing now to hate. So we need to defeat that hate. The only way to defeat some of that hate is to vote. And if we pay attention to certain cities around here that's having their primary elections, we've seen that the change is coming. We see in Maryland, Benjamin Jealous, who used to be the CEO of NAACP, stepped down from the NAACP so he could run for office. Well, he won his primary election in the state of Maryland. So we need to go for that. We need to make sure that that happens everywhere. In our lovely, great state of Texas that we claim is so big and we love it, we need to make it happen. We need to remove certain people. And we know why we need to remove them, but we need to remove them collectively. And, you know, I like defeat, hate, vote. I like that because that's what we're defeating. Because as long as we leave these people here, we're going backwards. And we're willingly going backwards. If we don't vote, we're going backwards, and we're happy. We're really happy about going backwards because we're not doing what we need to do it. Nobody can stop you from voting. Once your mind is set, no one should be able to change it because it's your mind and you set it in motion. So we should talk to everybody every day about voting. We should. That should be number one thing. You know, I also ask me, you want to defeat hate? Then let's go vote. You know, let's vote twice, vote all, and make sure everybody can vote. We need to get organizations with vans and cars ready today. Yesterday, I said today, and this is the end of June, I know, but November's like right there. And October early voting is right there. So we need to come together as groups, organizations, and say, hey, listen, I got vans on Monday. I got a van for Tuesday. I got a van for Wednesday. We need to do that. We need to go to our senior citizens. And every community, you do have the oldest, busiest senior citizen. You need to go find who that is. If you don't know who that is and you live in a community, shame on you. Because in Killeen, I can tell you who she is. We should all know who that person is. We need to go to them today, now, form a relationship with them. Because guess what? They get their other little old people to go vote. You know, we can't talk to somebody 80 years old and tell them to go vote. We can't. We can't speak their language. We can't. I don't care how you try, how you work it, you can't, but they can speak their own. You know, in Killeen, I'm going to say her name, Miss Ernestine Warren. She is one of our older senior citizens in the city of Killeen, but she votes. You know, and I used to be president of NAACP. And she came to me one day, she said, I want a committee. I'm like, okay. You know, and all our committees were filled. So I knew I couldn't give her a committee because we didn't have any. But guess what? We can have ad hoc committees. Mm-hmm. So I made her the ad hoc senior citizen voter education chair. Ooh, it was a long title. So you know what she did in Killeen at that time? They held coffees, they held teas at different places. And there were a lot of them. I went to one of their meetings. There was a bunch of them. But they were talking voting in their way, in their style. Mm-hmm. I gave them all the tools they needed. I gave them sample ballots. I gave them everything they needed. But they went around and they had big meetings because I empowered her. She empowered the rest, so they had something to do. I gave them something to do. You know, a lot of them, Phyllis, keep giving us all this stuff. But if you would know our senior citizens, they like fussing. they do. They like it. But we need to go back to our communities, find that person, get to know that person, and when it's time to vote, when it's time to move and shake, go to them. We need to still sit at their feet. They might say something you don't want to hear. You say, I don't want to hear none of that. That didn't happen in my day and time. So what? Listen to it and deal with it. But we need to do that, and we need to vote. Okay, that's my soapbox for voting. And yes, you're going to hear it again and again and again because we have a time to change, and the time for us to change is now. So we need to do that. We proved that we could make a change when we were elected. And I'll say elected because we need to say it correctly. We elected the first African-American president, President Barack Hussein Obama. We elected him. We came together and did it. Somehow or another we came together and did it. So we need to come together now and defeat the hate. And I'll say he was elected first because, you know, our first black president was selected, not elected. So we need to remember those two things and say it correctly. And speaking of correctly, we're talking about holidays. And you all know every holiday, all the holidays, I don't seek to destroy them, but I seek to let you know why we celebrate them. And there's one holiday coming up, it's 4th of July. Now, 4th of July is built, you see the big red, white, and blue. And I'm not saying anything about patriotic, but you see red, white, and blue. Then you see men's favorite thing. I'm not saying all men, but you see beer, wine, oh, yes. So then there's the grills that come out. They roll out the grills. They roll out the beer, the wine. It's all on sale. You know, they got the ribs because, you know, all black folks eat pork. I'm just saying that, but y'all know what I mean. You know, but they got that. You know, and they got the chicken, but they got all this stuff, and they got the music, parks cleaning up the parks because they're ready for you to come out, barbecue, act the fool. The police are ready for you to act the fool because they want to give you a ticket. So all these things are set up, and black folks, we actually do that. We actually wait for the 4th of July, and we buy ribs, and we buy chicken, and we buy grills, and we make sure we got all the alcohol we make sure we have all that. So what we doing when we celebrate 4th of July is we celebrating that we were happy we were slaves. Did y'all hear me? We're celebrating that we're happy we were slaves because at that time we were slaves.
We heard you loud and clear.
You know, so for that aspect, we need to think about how we're celebrating 4th of July. Okay, we need to think about that. Just think, you wasn't free. You're still under the master's whip and chain. So when you celebrate 4th of July with the patriotic view, remember you're celebrating slavery, and you happy y'all were slaves. Just y'all were happy. You know, that's what you were. So we're going to talk about the good and the bad of the 4th of July, because along with the 4th of July having that meaning of celebrating slavery, there's another thing happening on the 4th of July years later that happened the 4th of July that we need to know about and that we need to talk about. So if we do celebrate the 4th of July, we can celebrate something that represents us and not the defeat of us. So on that, you know, I often ask my friends to come on. I don't want to say friends, my family members, because I have a lot of extended family members. And I asked student minister Robert Muhammad, he know when he coming on the show that he going to talk about something that has to do. But usually I invite him on at this time and other times too. But we need to talk about the 4th of July. So good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you? I'm honored to be here today again. with the Harriet Tubman of Killeen, Texas, and Corpus Cove and Harker Heights, Miss Phyllis Jones. It's an honor to be here with the family again. And, be here with Joe and see his bright shining face.
Yeah, Joe be asking. Joe asked about y'all. So Travaris and student Minister Robert, not to cut you off, but you too. I must say, y'all need to come visit Joe more often because Joe does ask about y'all. So I'm just saying.
Well, we're honored to be here, and we're always honored to be here with you all. And so anytime you call, we'll do what we can to get here. Okay. So thank you for having us.
Yes, you're welcome. Now tell us why we need to think about 4th of July in a more positive way.
Well, let's deal with we kind of dealt with the negative already.
Right.
We are the only group of people on the planet that when it comes to our history, we're beckoned and we beckon ourselves to let the past be the past and forget about it. Mm-hmm. But there's no group of people that, because our history is predicated on our past, our future is predicated on our present. So if we don't know where we come from, we definitely don't know where we are. And if we don't know where we are, we don't know where we're going. Mm-hmm. So in order to build a better future, we got to know the past. Mm-hmm. And so for us to sit here blindly and to celebrate not just the freedom, it's okay. I wouldn't mind to participate in the emancipation of Puerto Ricans or the emancipation of any sovereign nation or sovereign group of people. But the fact that we celebrate that we fought, bled, died, and killed to emancipate a group of people that's decided to keep us as not indentured servants, not as sharecroppers, but actual slaves. Mm-hmm. And so during this particular time of the year, the 4th of July, when we go to various parts of the city and various parts of the country, it's black people and Latino people and poor people that are lining the sides of the roads that they buying more fireworks than the so-called patriotic ones that work in corporate America. But no, it was the black, the brown, and the poor that benefited the least from the emancipation. And so we should rethink this notion of celebrating the red, white, and blue in the common way that it's celebrated. But we in the Nation of Islam celebrate the 4th of July for a whole different reason. And so that we'll get into here. But we need to rethink that. And we celebrate the 4th of July because if you look at the back, if anybody see those nice looking young men around the country with their suits and their bow ties on, whether they're knocking on your door, whether they're at the intersection on the street corner that have in their hand a paper called the Final Call newspaper, you should donate and purchase that. But on the back page of the Final Call newspaper, there's something called the Muslim program. And it's divided into two sections. And one section is what the Muslims want, and the other section is what the Muslims believe. Well, point number 12 of what the Muslims believe talks about a man named Fard Muhammad. And I'll read it for you. And it says that we believe that Allah God appeared in the person of Master W. Fard Muhammad, July 1930, the long-awaited Messiah of the Christians and the Mahdi of the Muslims. We believe further and lastly that Allah is God, and besides him there is no God, and he will bring about a universal government of peace wherein we all can live in peace together. July 4th was the day that Fard Muhammad made himself known and declared black men and women in America to be independent. The scriptures, as the scripture says, that God made himself known on a well-known day in sinful flesh. And so we believe that God fulfilled that in 1930, July 4th, with Fard Muhammad and his coming. And most of the historians declare that that was the founding of the Nation of Islam. And that was just the designation for the beginning of this process, this building of this nation called the Nation of Islam. And so from that point to this point, Fard Muhammad raised up the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, whom many know. They may not know Fard Muhammad, but they know Elijah Muhammad, who only completed the 3rd grade. He went to the 4th grade, but with what he was taught by Father Muhammad, he was able to unite black people in America. He was able to build an independent educational system among black people in America. He was able to build an independent financial system among black people in America. He was able to build industry in America among the poorest of people during the times where America was trying to climb out of the Great Depression. And so here's a man that only completed the 3rd grade that is among some of his not notable converts, but converts that he developed and made great are individuals like Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Imam Warithuddin Muhammad, and many, many more people that contributed to entertainment, the sports industry, that contributed to agriculture, that contributed to engineering, that contributed to all areas of human endeavor in the United States of America. In fact, it was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the sacrifice of the early followers of his that made an unwritten rule to utter words like Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be upon you, or peace be upon you, that allowed, because people were being killed at that time for uttering words like that. People were being, not only were you black and being murdered and lynched at the stake, but then now you said that I'm going to throw off this man-made religion, not the name Christianity, but the practice that was given to us by our former slave masters when we said that we were going to break away from that and take on this new, what we thought was a new religion and a new way of life called Islam. But that new way of life and that new way of thinking helped to make us individuals that were proud to be black, that were proud of our heritage and our lineage. And we actually even began to learn pre-slavery history under the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And so what we established June 4th for us, 1930, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the father of black consciousness. July 4th. Thank y'all for correcting me. 1930. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad goes down in history as the father of black consciousness. You would have no Black Panther movement were it not for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's right. You would have no Nations of Gods in the Earth and the 5% movement if it were not for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You would have no what's the imams community called? The American Muslim community, if it were not for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You wouldn't have had the great humanitarian Muhammad Ali if it were not for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. One of the greatest scholars and debaters we had was Malcolm X, a man that only went to the 8th grade. And you wouldn't have had Malcolm X were it not for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So we celebrate for a whole different reason, because this man who only went to the 3rd grade here in America, he did something among black people that nobody could do. No one could do it. We honor and we thank Noble Drew Ali for the great work that he did. We honor and we thank the Honorable Marcus Garvey for the work that he did. But all of their work was destroyed and trampled on. Mm-hmm. And although there was an attempt to destroy the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's work prior or after 1975 during his departure, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has been successful in rebuilding most aspects of it. Most notable is the spiritual and the self-improvement aspect of his program. And so if you want to celebrate July 4th, and if you want to celebrate an independence, what we celebrate is the fulfillment of Scripture, where God gives and makes a promise to Abraham that your seed will be a stranger in a strange land and will be subjected to harsh punishment, and also basically will be enslaved by this people for a period of 400 years. And then he tells Abraham that I will come and I will free them, and I will bring them out with great substance. And so the children of Israel, when you look at that, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan did a lecture a few years ago in Atlanta called The Real Children of Israel. Who are the real children of Israel? Black men and women in America. Yeah. And so when you look at that and you look at that history, you look at that story of Moses actually bringing the children of Israel out. He set up a nation. He had to re-civilize them. He gave them laws, rules, mandates, and they set up a whole he had to give them a dietary law again. And so in the Holy Quran, Moses, in a couple of different parts, he's talking to the children of Israel, and he's telling them, do you take on a different religion, or the religion that Moses is bringing to you, before I give you permission, or before time? So that tells us that the people that was held in subjugation by Pharaoh were placed under a new way of thinking that caused them to continue to be able to operate as a slave. And so you're going to have to stop me, because I just keep talking. I don't know where you want me to pause.
We're going to take a little break.
So if you want to celebrate.
Yeah. No, we're going to take a break. I got a huge question.
Well, come on with the huge question.
I've been waiting to ask this question for like years.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to take a break and come back.